Good morning and welcome to Morning Pulse, the pulse of Nigerian politics. My name is Sharon Chuku. Joining me live in the studio, I have with me Miss Ifoma Oji. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Sharon. I'm great.
Welcome to the conversation. I'm very well, thank you. Now, joining us in the studio as well, we have our guest in person of Mr. Charles Nduka. Good morning. How are you doing? Nice to have you. I hope you
nice citizen.
Often. Welcome to the conversation. Now we're going straight to the stories for today. The order from the Senate House presided over by Senate President Godswill Akpabio to distribute antivenoms comes after the death of Abuja-based singer Ifunanya, who died recently after being bitten by a snake, and upon taking herself to hospital, we found out that there were no antivenoms. Now, the real question is whether this directive fixes a systemic problem or simply reacts to public outrage. Now, also, the Wike-backed faction of the People's Democratic Party has shifted its convention from March 28th to March 29th and 30th, a move that comes amid deep internal divisions within the party. Supporters say the new date allows for better preparation and wider consultation, while critics argue it is a strategic move to consolidate control ahead of key leadership. At the heart of the issue is legitimacy. With multiple factions claiming authority, questions remain: who truly speaks for the PDP, and how this convention will be recognized by party members, INEC, and the courts? Beyond the internal politics, the stakes are national. A divided opposition weakens democratic balance. The convention will test whether the PDP can resolve its crisis or slide further into fragmentation. Now we move over to the last story for the morning. The federal government says it has empowered 11,000 vulnerable youths as part of a strategy to curb insecurity across the country. The initiative focuses on skills acquisition, financial support, and engagement aimed at steering young people away from crime and violence. While the goal is prevention, questions remain about skill and impact. Nigeria has millions of unemployed, at-risk youth, raising concerns about whether 11,000 beneficiaries can make a meaningful dent in nationwide insecurity. We have to start first with the first story, Akpabio coming out to make a statement and say yes to a prayer offered in the Senate House earlier yesterday, where we're seeing that there has been an order from said Senate to give out an antivenom across all hospitals in Nigeria after the death of Naya. We'll take a look at that video and then we'll return to the studio.
Prayer 2. Urge the Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to ensure procurement, quality assurance, proper storage, and nationwide availability of safe, effective, and affordable antivenoms and critical antidotes for use in public and private hospitals with priority attention to high-risk regions. This is very good. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer.
And a lot of people have different reactions to that. Some saying that it is coming at a time when Nigeria is being nationally disgraced for not having the basics in our healthcare. And I'll start with you, Ifoma. Where do you stand with this news?
I'll first of all start by saying kukuruku chefona, which is, I mean, it is done. It is time that you people remember, oh, we need these things in our hospitals. And I have problem with this Senate House and the senator. You see, when it comes to approving bills like taking loan or coming up with bills, others bills to spend recklessly and extravagantly, this is where these people are very much functional. But going down to the grassroots, going down to communities, going down to states and other parts of the state, going to the infrastructure, going to the healthcare sector, they will not do any of that. Now, we keep on reacting to situation instead of being proactive in all this situation. This lady now, young Ifunanya Wangene, is not supposed to die. This is something that every hospital is supposed to have. When we were talking about this in the afternoon show, I told you, first of all, I blame the government, because if the government keeps an eye and allots a lot to the healthcare sector, I told you that 5% out of the internally generated revenue we have in Nigeria is being allocated to the healthcare sector. Is it supposed to be so? It's not. But when it's time for these people, maybe they are feeling ill or something of that sort, you see them flying themselves to the country, outside the country, to get treatment. But we have a lot of healthcare that they are supposed to channel energy to. Now, I'm going to say this. It's not really about church every single time. We've come out with this policy. This bill is to be passed, is to be implemented as soon as possible. What is the follow-through plan? Are we going to see it implemented? That is the question that we keep on asking. We've seen over the years where the government come up with policies, but enforcement is always the problem that we have. You see years to come, you will see that same thing that they talked about in 2024, we are yet to see the fruition of those things. Now this case that just happened is because this is Ifunanya, who is a rising star in the entertainment industry. Most people know her for her art, and that is why we are hearing about something like this. There are cases like this that we are yet to hear about, because maybe this person is not a prominent personality, this person is very poor, this person can't even afford to get a phone. Talk more of going to hospitals, popular. Yes, or even going to hospitals that will have this antivenom. There are a lot of people that they have lost their lives because of simple precautionary measure or even prevention.
So you don't think that this is the ruling coming from the Senate, or the order from the Senate House, is timely at all?
It's not.
I'm going to come to you, Mr. Charles. The fact that we have to discuss antivenoms in our hospitals in Nigeria just after the death of Ifunanya, and a lot of people are really dragging the government for that. But let me have your take on this recent order from the Senate.
It's quite disappointing that the supply of antivenoms across all hospitals was due to the death of a citizen. It's very sad, because it's obvious, and it has been happening for years, that the government spends money on things that are not really important. You understand? But when it comes to things that are vital, they ignore it for their own selfish reasons, and that is very, very disappointing. Ifunanya shouldn't have. It is not the snake that killed Ifunanya; it's the Nigerian government that killed her. So that's just the simple fact about that.
All right. Now, another thing that people are also talking about, like we had the discussion sometime this week, and you talked about the condition that the hospitals require to be able to even sustain these venoms, having 24/7 electricity in order to keep their fridges powered, and give the venoms, the antivenoms, the right condition. So do you think that the order from the Senate to release antivenoms nationwide in all hospitals is going to cut it?
Number one, I am not even seeing that happening. It's just maybe to put it on paper.
Oh, you're not even seeing the distribution of the antivenoms happening? I'm not
seeing it happening. The moment I see a lot of hospitals coming to give testimonies that they have received this, and as they are distributing it to urban areas, they should equally remember that there is rural areas too. So, like I said earlier, that I'm not seeing them doing this. It's just for the optics. Made them just be like say they work, but we say they know they work. And if is going to cut it, first off, I think they should first of all focus on 24 hours power supply. Now, we saw the minister of power the other time saying that Nigerians it's more like, he said that electricity is too cheap for Nigerians, that the problem that Nigerians have is mismanagement, that they mismanage the electricity, when he was talking about the fridge, that we leave it for a very long time, even when the things inside the freezer has already frozen. And a lot of people came out backlashing him, saying that this is more like a disgrace coming from a whole minister for power. Adelabo, I cannot remember the name. So I think first of all they should talk about or collaborate with the electricity sector to see how they can have hospitals here can have 247 power supply before they talk about distributing this, because if you distribute it to hospitals without proper condition or temperature in the hospitals, this venom will definitely spoil.
And I think also personally for me, for a nation that has not been able to achieve even constant 15-hour power supply, asking for 24 hours might be dreaming too big. I would even say if we can start from having 18 hours constant power supply, we know out of 24 hours that 18 hours we're going to have undisturbed power supply in Nigeria. Maybe we can even start from there, because still talking about power supply, we're seeing that Abia State the other day acquired 60% of EEDC, and during the national grid falling like it would always fall every other day, they were not affected. Is it now, because we've seen that Abia State has been able to somehow hack this thing, is it now impossible because we don't have what it takes as a nation to actually have constant power supply, or we lack that political will to do?
We live in a country where anything is possible, and when I mean anything, I mean bad. So there is we have the political will to bring that constant power supply, but we just won't do it. That's how the country is. Nigeria is big enough. We call ourselves the giant of Africa. We are big enough to make Nigeria an established nation, to make sure that there is 24 hours power supply. But we won't do it because of our greed and our pockets, the interest of our pockets. So that's so
what I'm getting at the end of the day is, even with the order from the Senate to give out the anti-venoms in other hospitals, I think there are so many things that we need to also ask, because this is just one thing that we know. What if major hospital or all the hospitals in Nigeria are lacking another basic thing? And I'm asking, would it have to take the death of another Nigeria for us to realize that there is something that is lacking that we should have that we're not having? And going forward, we have to move over to the second story. Going forward, I think we also need to have a revamp of the health of our health sectors. They should look into our hospitals and see where exactly and what exactly that we need. We have to move over to the Wike now, because Wike is always in the stories, he's always in the headlines, and we're seeing now that the People's Democratic Party originally stated its convention for March 28 to 29, and they have slightly shifted that. And on the normal circumstances, that wouldn't be worrisome because it's just merely by a day. So they shifted it from 28 to 29 till a further day till 29 and 30th. And I'm just asking, right, this whole date changing, do you see it as normal, or are they just trying to do this so that they announce that they have power?
First of all, I'll start with saying that whenever any Nigerian, including you, Sharon, you want to pray every night or every morning, you need to pray against any powers of Wike.
That was what I said this morning.
Anything that looks like Wike, we could pray against it. Because I'm yet to understand the kind of backing. You know, when we're praying, we'll be like, I walk with God the Father, I walk with God the Son, I walk with God the Spirit. 3 of them join and get backing. So because you have backing, you can literally do anything with audacity. So I'm yet to understand as a Nigerian the kind of pact this man made with the president, that he has the kind of power that he wields to do as he wills in PDP. Now, this is the particular party that he was expelled from. How is it that he's still claiming ownership of the party? What is his problem? As far as I'm concerned, he's not in PDP. He's not in APC. He's not in any party. He's partyless. So why is he still prognosing in the affairs of the party? But it still shows you now that it is all about who has the power and who has the influence in Nigeria. Once you don't have these two things in Nigeria, you're literally a nobody. Now, what am I saying now? Wike has the backing of the court, and that is why he has approached the court, and he has seek that they nullify the earlier convention that they had. I think it should be around December or October. I can't remember, but I think it's around September, December that they had in Ibadan, and that was where they elected the new chairman.
November. That was
November. That is when they elected the new chairman for the party. And it is how the court was able to nullify that leadership. The entire committee that was elected for that particular PDP said. So I'm yet to be honest with you, understand what Wike has with PDP and what he has with equally other party. But I'll just end with saying this. He has the power, he has the machineries, he has the arsenals, and that is why he is making full use of it. And I'm going to equally end by saying this. I wish that the candidates or the candidacy that Nigerians are really standing solidly behind can act in this way and manner. We need people with power, we need people with influence, but to act in the right direction.
You know, I also think concerning Wike, like I was saying jokingly in the morning, he acts as someone who has backing. And that popular song, Oh, I Get Backing by Victoria Orenze, he's not just backed by the Holy Ghost and by God the Father. There are powers behind Wike for him to have the audacity to do the type of things that he has gone on to do in Nigeria's politics and in our political terrain. Because when you look at it, this is a man with alongside his cohorts that have been expelled from the PDP. They sent him a letter to expel him. Now he has refused to leave the party. And I'm asking, it's not as though he loves the PDP so much. It's not as though he's doing this from a place of patriotism to the party. This is just based off his own personal interest. And I remember after he was expelled and all that, and I just recently we're seeing, still under speculations, but the fight between him and Fubara as to who is the #1 APC man in Rivers State is still an ongoing debate. And we're seeing now that it seems as though the president is teetering towards Wike to give him that power as the #1 head of the APC in Rivers State. And just to clear the air that he is not a member of the APC, neither is he a card-carrying member of the APC. It just baffles me how someone in another party claims to be the head of that party and also the head of another party. Now, this just brings me to the other question that I want to ask Charles. When we have politicians like this, someone like Wike, do you think that they're just playing politics? Do you think them playing this politics is not going to have an effect on our government and the way we rule and the way we do governance?
Well, definitely, I think it's going to have an effect on the people and the government and the way the government works. Because, you know, like I said before, we live in a country where anything is possible. And once power, money and influence is involved, things can either go very good or very bad. So now, with Wike's behavior towards everything, it's having a bad effect on the government, and it's clearly affecting the people. So
all right, and then there's something that the acting national chairman Abdurrahman Mohammed also mentioned. He said that under his leadership that there is no division in the PDP, that the PDP is united and they're working towards a peaceful and an all-inclusive convention for their party, and they are genuinely, just mark that word, genuinely working to reposition this party. Now, I take it from the chairman now that in his understanding, the PDP, which a lot of people have ridiculed as a party, a former strong, very strong opposition party in Nigeria, and a party that has ruled this country for maybe more than 16 years and has been reduced to nothing in the past few years, is the same party that the chairman Abdurrahman is saying is peaceful and is united. I don't think I have ever seen a more divided party like PDP in a long while. But let me get your take on that statement from the chairman.
In Rivers State, I say we have one day, one problem, 1 hour, one problem in Rivers State. And I'll say the same thing with PDP. One day, one problem, 1 hour, one problem. And it's quite unfortunate that people can be very comfortable to lie openly in an open space, but telling lie to yourself is where I have
that's
problems.
another thing.
Now, it's easier to lie to people, yeah, but how can you, with all the dignitaries in PDP, you come out and lie in public to tell people, even lie to yourself? Now, we all know that, I mean, yes, just like you said, PDP has been a strong opposition party over the years. And it is quite appalling that in 2025 and 2026, starting from 2023 even, that we've seen PDP reduced to nothingness. And instead of this party to find a way to unite and fund themselves against 2027 election as a strong and formidable opposition party that they are busy saying this party is not a legitimate member of the party, this faction is not legitimate. How long is this going to continue in the party? A lot of people I know over the years had this confidence in PDP because maybe they've been delivering good governance or all this while, but
A lot of people might not agree with that
I said
statement, though.
before. Now, in Goodluck's administration, there was at least stable governance. That's why I said a lot of people believed in PDP. And in Sullivan's administration in Enugu State, a lot of people supported him. So that's why I said before. So it's not like he's I just more like picked somehow. Now, still forging on the topic, to see PDP having this internal struggles and squabbles every single time, it's I'll just say that it keeps on eroding the confidence and the trust that the people have for the party. And moving forward, I'm not even seeing PDP standing strong. They don't even have a leg anymore to stand for 2027 election, and it's a shame and it's a disgrace to the party.
You know, another thing that really is amazing with the court ruling, because when you look at the chairman of the Wike-led faction of the PDP, you'd see that he is the chairman from that side, right? There's also Turaki, who is another chairman in the same party that is also being approved by heavyweights in the PDP, and they did arrive at that decision after the national convention held in November 15, 2025. Now, the thing here is that what is really shocking to me is that a court will come out and say, oh, this is the agreement, right? This is the order. No neck meeting should hold on so date, or this is the approved chairman of the PDP. And some people will choose to obey or disobey. Then they'll go to another court and say, okay, for this same matter that already been judged in a previous court, this is the matter on ground. And they would ask the question, and when the court finally gets to their ruling and their order and agreement, another faction would obey the court ruling. So it's really how unserious our judiciary has become. The lack of respect and reverence for our judiciary, just because of how low they have brought themselves. Because tell me why in a normal working country, right, we have clashing court rulings. The same court, which is supposed to be under one umbrella, is having different clashes on the same matter, not even on different matters. And this is why I'm asking, let's talk about our judiciary and the role that they play, that they're supposed to play in resolving conflict and in bringing a balance to situations and just general governance. Do you think that so far that they have lived up to that expectation?
No, they have not. Because like everything they say, every good thing they say they will do is just on paper. You understand? Once they put it on paper, their actions, in fact, their actions and their words don't match. They say this is like giving a fake manifesto. They say they will do this, they will do this, they will do this. All the good things on paper, then they go behind and use their actions to do the opposite. So if you ask me, genuinely speaking, they have not lived up to the standards.
And then what is now going to be our fate if we have a situation like that, where our judiciary cannot be trusted.
Omo.
But anyways, coming to you, Ifeoma, one last question as we move over to the final story now. On this same PDP matter, I know we've had this discussion before, but going forward with the new convention, we don't know if the other faction has agreed to the change of dates and what their stance is. But we remember that last year there were trending videos of APC heavyweights, right? Politicians in the PDP fighting just to gain entrance into their headquarters in secretariat in Abuja. Now, with how disgraceful that was, and now seeing that they have changed their dates, do you see a repetition of what happened last year, or maybe even worse happening this year?
Sharon, I put a nail on what you just said, or I put a cap on what you just said. That repetition is going to happen again. Now, let me even go back to what happened during that time they had that fight. It was shameful. It was disgraceful to see people's fathers, to see people's serious boyfriends, husbands, fighting on the public space. For what? For what? Stomach infrastructure. Who wields power? Who wields power? It's disgraceful, and it's a disgrace to the entire nation. And even I even shame for Nigeria in the international body. Like I shame for our country. Now, coming to what the question you asked right now, I'm seeing a repetition because I don't think Taraki faction is backing down. Sheyi Makinde, let's not forget, he's still in PDP and he's still willing to push however it takes, whatever it will take. He said that Wike was still very tender when he gained his first $1 billion and $1 million. You understand? So he's still going to move forward. He's still going to ensure that this battle does not end in this new faction or the faction of Wike. So it continues. But at the end of the day, it is Nigerians that suffer.
Well, let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
Do you think that the APC has succeeded in rendering the opposition useless in Nigeria? Have they completely succeeded?
Sharon, as it stands right now, I wish maybe Google can provide that answer you just asked right now, because sometimes I go to Google and it gives me exactly the same thing I want, and when I want to talk, I can reference to the to Google. Now in Nigeria, if I'm to answer, there is no single opposition party that can say is formidable as it stands right now in Nigeria. Even ADC now that we're saying they are the formidable party, they are the strong coalition party, they are not even strong, because the master strategy still have his co-hosts, still have some spies in the party that is trying to tear down the coalition that they have there. And talking about PDP or APC too is not even strong. They are having internal crisis too. You understand? So there is no party in Nigeria, should I even talk about Labour Party, that does not even know who their chairman is. Some people are fighting for the chairmanship. Some people are saying I'm the legitimate chairman. Other people is refusing, even when they've retired or they have their tenure has expired. So as it stands right now, we don't have any party that is strong that we can say is an opposition party against APC. So maybe to an extent, APC still have that united front somehow.
All right, now we have somehow agreed that we might not have a strong opposition party, but let us talk about strong opposition political contenders, like, I mean, politicians individually running for the presidency. On one hand, we know we have Mr. P2B, who in 2023 showed that he has what it takes, right? Now, I'm going to ask Mr. Charles, apart from Mr. P2B, do you think that there is any other sole individual, who has the capacity to stand as a worthy opposition against Tinubu come 2027?
No, to be very honest, I don't think so. I think P2B is the only person that is capable of.
What about Dati Baba Ahmed? I heard there's a possibility he might be running, his former vice presidential candidate in Labour Party. Do you think on his own he has what it takes? And also there's Kwankwaso, there's Atiku Abubakar. None of them.
None of them. I don't think none of these personalities you just called have as much influence as P2B. In my own view, I don't think the square up to P2B. So I feel like P2B, it's only P2B that can, you know, take on Tinubu in the coming election.
Now, if we have just one person, just one man who can stand against the ruling government, now do you think that with the parties that we have, right, that, or in order to be able to beat the ruling government, it has to be individual versus party? It's no longer based off of which party you belong to, because before there are some parties that if you belong to, you know, you stand a chance. APC, PDP. Now that PDP is in the mud, but do you think that individually that they can't stand a chance?
Okay, I'll start this answering this question by saying there's a song that P Square sang. He said na collabo. So na collabo here is just one man, like an individual. Let me use P2B as an example now. Yes, we know that he has gained popularity over the years, but is he enough to fight the present administration? Is he enough to, you know, wield power? He's not. Why do I say that? He needs other political alliances. He needs to align with other people. He needs to form, you know, what is it called? Alliance with other strong political contenders in Nigeria. Now, there was something that happened, was it last week? I don't know if it was Monday that we discussed this, which is Kwankwaso and P2B ticket.
Yes.
And when I was making comment on it, I said that if both of them should come together, that they will form a dangerous alliance. And we already know the stands of Kwankwaso in the north and how a lot of people, he has garnered a lot of following. So with him now, that is that same alliances that we are talking about now. So it's not about just an individual race. You still need a lot of people to support you and back you up for anything you want to do politically.
You know, the reason why I asked that question is because for us to, it just seems very hard to achieve the type of alliance that you mentioned, and you talked about the fact that these politicians are finding it very hard to put their self-interest aside, put their ego, put their pride aside, and have a united front and put hands together to agree on one thing. So that is why I'm asking, since that doesn't seem to be working, that doesn't seem to be a possibility, individuals in politics, people who have the large followings, who have the numbers, is it not possible for them to achieve that? Because for Mr. P2B, like you said, you said, oh, he doesn't have what it takes standing alone to achieve that. But there are people obedient who will say, P2B or nothing, and wherever he goes, we go. So it means he carries his structure and his support wherever he goes, and it doesn't really matter the party where he lies. So where I'm coming to now is we really have maybe two options. It's either you are in a political party that is formidable and can give you the presidency, or you are a strong individual who has the capacity to get yourself there. Now, the final option, which is the third one, actually, in my opinion and in my books, is the people. If you have the people support, which is something a lot of people will agree Mr. P2B has. So if you think with someone's individual prowess, his the achievements he's achieved before, his pedigree, and the support of the people, minus the party, a strong formidable party, do you think that person can still be able to beat, you know, the ruling administration?
No, I don't think so, because I mean, we live in a corrupt country. There are elections are still rigged. I feel like at this very point, the people are not even an option. Like, they are not, they are ruled out.
They don't even matter.
They don't matter.
They don't matter.
They don't matter. People or no people. The person that wants to win will win. What Tinubu said before he got into power is, it's my turn.
Miloko.
It is my turn. And he entered. despite all the LUP 77,
Okay.
he still entered. So the people, I don't really consider the people as an option.
So
Well,
you don't,
this is not how it's supposed to
you
be.
don't think that the people have that power anymore?
No, they
so
do not have the
what
power.
type of governance do you think we're practicing? Because democracy is supposed to be government of the people. There's just people everywhere in the definition of government of democracy. So if you minus the people,
people, exactly.
what type of government are we practicing?
I think I can't really put it in words, but I think the kind of government we are practicing, something similar, is a dictatorship, something like that. Authoritarian kind of government, because we left the democratic government long ago. Long ago. The moment you rule down the people,
I told you people
democracy
that
died.
what we are practicing in Nigeria is demonstration of grace. That's what we are practicing.
And you don't see a way where or a time where Nigeria is going to get to democracy. You don't see us ever. Do you see us ever going back to democracy?
No, we are doomed.
There's still hope.
I see.
There's still hope. There's still hope.
Still
There's still hope. I think for the people, right? I don't know. I just think for the people, it's very important that they still have hope. It is very important that they have believe that things will get better, because if not, we'll have more than what we have right now to deal with. We'll have a lot of misery in the nation and in the atmosphere, and that misery will translate to violence, because when people feel as though there is no other option or there is no alternative to better governance, they would result into causing catastrophe in the society and in the communities that they find themselves in, or just passing aggression and transferring aggression to their immediate environment, because you can't lay hold on the government right now. Anyways, we have to call it a wrap on the conversation right now. Thank you very much, Mr. Charles and Ifoma, for joining us today. If you're watching for the first time, this is Morning Pulse on Active Citizens, and if you're yet to subscribe, do well to subscribe and follow us across all social media at Active Citizens. And where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook at Audrey Sophia and on Instagram at Miss Select.
Mr. Charles?
On Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, I'm everywhere.
All right, MTN. All right, you can find me as well at Sharon NM Chuku. And yes, thank you once again for joining. I remain your host, Sharon NM Chuku. Till I see you later today, do have a good morning.